each person has to be let in. So we probably won't start till 11:04, 11:05. So just making sure we get everyone in. And for those of you, just so you know, this meeting is being recorded.
Hi, Kelly Carter. It's Kevin and Maggie. I was thinking Megan.
I know.
What the hell is that?
I've worked with you for 5 years.
I know.
Hey
Kelly
guys.
Carter,
Hey guys.
you guys had Alzheimer's or something the other day?
Dementia.
We must have, because we haven't pulled out of Chicago. Straight on out, Kevin.
How dare you? I'm the other Kevin.
This information.
I mean, everybody did.
How do you get my name wrong? I don't have to.
I don't
I don't have to.
all right, I'll unmute.
We'll go back to
I thought it'd just be kind of fun.
Hey, Kat.
Kat,
How's it going?
New Orleans in the house.
Got New Orleans in the house.
And Nashville.
Yep. Hey.
Joe, where are you?
Tampa.
See? We're everywhere.
Tampa, good luck. There we go. That's my town. All right, now I'll mute. I'm sorry.
Is there anyone else waiting, Catherine?
No, haven't had anybody else join.
Okay. I'll give it one more minute and then we'll get started.
Okie dokie.
All right, guys. So let's get this started. So I hope you all know me. I'm Kelly Carter. I am the Director of Marketing for Walton County Tourism. That's our overarching brand of what we do for tourism. That's who I work for. I work for Walton County Tourism. We have 3 separate brands underneath the Walton County Tourism umbrella. We have the authentic Walton brand, which is everything north of Choctawhatchee Bay. We have the South Walton brand, which is the very established brand, and it's everything south of Choctawhatchee Bay. And then we also have our lovely little Keep Walton County Beautiful brand that we're just trying to grow and seeing some good things with it as well. In the last couple of months, we've made quite a few changes here in the marketing department, and this is one of the first opportunities that we've had to really, get with you guys and let you guys know what's going on. I have quite a few new faces here in the tourism department, and I wanted to take a moment to introduce you to them. First up, we have our graphic artist. She's brand new to the team. She started in October, and her name is Addison.
Coming to frame. Hi, everybody. Nice to virtually meet you guys. Hi.
She's doing all of our in-house graphic work and all of that kind of stuff, and we're very, very pleased to have her. Additionally, we also have Blakely Carroll. She is our new marketing specialist. She has taken over and helping me with all of the out-of-market activations. She's also helping with the co-op plan and kind of just everything that we need in general. Lastly, but certainly not least, is Cecilia, but we call her Cece. Cece has taken over the event grants program, and she has taken over Keep Walton County Beautiful. So if you see them out and about, say hello. They're trying to get out. They're trying to network with people, and they'd love to come around and meet anybody that would like to meet with them. So I wanted to start off with that, and this is the marketing team. So we're glad to have you guys here, and I'm glad to have a full team. So I just wanted to start there. And then, of course, on the line with us, as always, we have our partners. Our advertising partner, of course, is our agency of record, Zehnder Communications. And we have Group Director, Catherine Simon, and I could not think of what her title was earlier and was like, can't remember it. But she leads all the strategy on our account. So, Catherine, if you want to introduce the rest of your team, you want to go from there?
Sure. We have a really robust team, as you can imagine, that works on this account here at Zehnder. But as far as account strategy goes, I have Margot and Claire on the call. They are our account strategy partners in the agency and help just get all of the work through the system. So anything that we touch for Walton County Tourism goes through the three of us essentially. And we make sure that it is all on brand, on time, on budget, and communicated appropriately to the client team. And I'm excited to talk through some exciting things today, both looking back at the previous seasons and kind of what we're seeing there. Downs and St. Germain is going to go through some really amazing trends that we're seeing upcoming and how that's going to affect our marketing. And then we'll talk through what we're looking ahead to and some new exciting opportunities as well.
Thanks, Catherine. Additionally, we have Downs and St. Germain, which I'm very excited to have them here today to present. So, Erin, you want to introduce your team and tell them who you are?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you. My name is Erin Dinkle. I'm the Director of Research here at Downs and St. Germain Research. I'm joined with Joe Walters, who's really just handling all of the major components and helping out with the research that we do here. For Walton County Tourism, Joe Walters is really taking the lead in the data collection and analysis, and we work together to kind of pull out those strategic insights and work with Zehnder Communications as well as the rest of the Walton County Tourism Department to really dissect what those meanings of the data is and make sure that there's some actionable insights that can be used to further all of their wonderful efforts. So thank you so much for having us here today.
And I also wanted to say along with that, if you don't participate in visitor tracking study, Erin and Joe are your people. And if you don't participate, I'd love to have a chat with you and bring Erin and Joe in, just because it's valuable information, not only for us, but it's also valuable information for you all. So if after this call, if you want to know more about where we get this data and how we use this data, and you don't participate, I'd love to have a conversation with you. So with that being said, are we ready to get started?
Ready.
All right. Catherine, you want to kick us off?
Sure. I think we just wanted to start with talking about 2023 and 2024. I think everybody on this call understands that the pandemic was a little bit of an anomaly for our destination. And so just talking through what some of the numbers we're seeing from 23 and 24 are meaning, and what they might not be meaning that they seem to be meaning. So we've seen a general softening of booking from the pandemic years, but as you guys know, we skyrocketed during those years. And so we're really just starting to see that normalization with our 2019 numbers. European travel was returning over the last 2 summers. I think we lost a good bit of visitors to the European travel. We've also seen inflation and economic hardship impacting some travelers. So I think that's kind of affecting our destination a little bit. We also had a huge market supply increase over the pandemic and in the years since. We have about 5,500 or more units added since 2019. And so what we're starting to see is an evening out of that supply versus demand. We had too much demand for our supply for a little while. Now we're having a little bit too much supply for our demand. And so we're seeing kind of that normalize as well. I also wanted to note that direct spending is up compared to where it would have been if pre-pandemic trends would have continued. So obviously we're going to see a little bit of a dip from the extremes that we saw during the pandemic years. But if we were to take 2019 and the trends we were seeing ahead of 2019 and map that out moving forward, we are ahead of where we would have been in direct spending, which is great to see because, as you know, our strategy is to bring people into the market who are able to pay higher rates and also spend more in the market so that the economic impact is higher per visitor. We don't have to get as many visitors into the destination and drain our resources. We
And
also are seeing, oh, go ahead, Kel.
And I just wanted to remind that that demographic that we're going after, is 175,000 plus, and a lot of times when you are in that demographic, you're not as concerned about inflation and some of those things. So when those people that continue to come, they're already in an income bracket where, it's not as noticeable to them because that's not what they're concerned about. But when you get into that lower income bracket, that's where it comes into, multi-families in one house and, not going out to dinner, not buying, not frequenting the shopping or anything like that. So while, it may seem great to have more visitors, I'd rather have the right visitors that spend the right amount of money than overload us with visitors that aren't helping the direct impact of the economics.
Absolutely. And then to say, I know that there's been a lot of changes in the destination also over the last 5 years or so, but we're still seeing that visitor rating and likelihood to visit has actually increased over the last 2 years, which is fantastic to see. People are still loving the destination. We still have the same amount, if not more, people who are visiting 10 plus times. And so all of those kind of loyal visitors are still coming back. And then we've also seen booking trends shifted in general. Visitor behavior has changed. So we have shorter booking windows. So we're not seeing as much advanced booking. And so we're having to adjust some of our marketing campaigns to align with those shorter booking windows. We know that there are relaxed policies around rentals and bookings and cancellations and things like that. So visitors are trained in a little bit of a different way than they were pre-pandemic. So just adjusting all of our strategies to accommodate that and make sure that we are promoting the destination and promoting visitation at the times that we're needing it.
And keeping in mind that, as the marketer, we are the ones that teach our visitor how to book. So that's back on us. When there was a 90-day mark or a 60-day mark or a 30-day mark that, you were booked by then and you didn't get your money back, you knew those visitors were coming. Some of these relaxed policies don't make it where you have to book that far out any longer. So, as keeping in mind, what your policies are is what you're allowing them to do. So we teach them how to use the market.
And then looking ahead, before we get into kind of actual looking ahead at numbers, Downs and St. Germain has a number of trends that they're seeing, and also just sort of backing up what we're seeing in our market. They're also seeing statewide, if not countrywide. So Joe, I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Yeah, and so this first slide puts the Walton County trends that Catherine and Kelly discussed in context of the larger trends throughout the state. In 21 and 22, in the midst of the pandemic, the tourism industry benefited from what they called revenge travel, which was taking a bunch of trips, sometimes extravagant trips, to make up for the lost time in 2020. Florida benefited more than most because of its comparatively relaxed policies and having the space and amenities people were looking for. 2023 and 2024 were that period of normalization Catherine talked about, where people were choosing the cruises and international travel that they couldn't in 21 and 22. As we look to 2025, the tourism industry as a whole has reason to be optimistic. People are prioritizing experiences over things, and more people plan on taking a vacation this year than last year. But the trend we've seen of people spending less in destination will likely continue. And this may be less for Walton County, but statewide, people are prioritizing travel, but spending less while traveling. Now let's look at the trends we're seeing in trip planning and marketing. The top resources for trip planning remain friends and family, internet searches, and online travel agencies. But in a world of search result overload and social media oversaturation, email has reemerged as the most effective way to simultaneously build brand awareness and track engagement back to bookings. And more people are taking travel recommendations from influencers than celebrities. Now let's look at some trends in family travel. Most families traveling with children will pick a destination based on their kids' needs and interests. Over half will choose their hotel based on their kids' clubs or youth programming. Pet-friendly travel is on the rise, with searches for pet-friendly hotel options doubling year over year. And multi-generational trips remain trending, with people now taking ski trips. That's ski as in spending kids' inheritance. Many baby boomers would rather spend money on a big trip with the family than save that money for inheritance. So now let's look at other travel niches, starting with culinary travel. Culinary travel is still a strong trend, with over half of all travelers booking restaurants before flights, and nearly 1 in 5 taking trips specifically to have new culinary experiences. On the next slide, we'll see the latest trends in wellness travel. Over 1 in 5 travelers will plan a trip soon for self-discovery or mental health rather than more common purposes. Wellness tourism is growing, with spending of $425 billion last year and an annual increase of 16%. Now let's talk about the latest trends in luxury travel. Luxury travelers like to know what they're getting into. 9 in 10 are more likely to book a luxury hotel if they're already familiar with the brand. Luxury travelers view travel media as the most reliable source when making decisions on where to stay. And as millennials and Gen Z are making more money, they're spending more on luxury travel. By the end of 2025, millennials and Gen Z will make up 45% of luxury sales. And more luxury travelers are looking for cooler weather. 76% of luxury travel advisors say clients now favor destinations with more moderate weather. Do you guys have any questions regarding these trends?
I don't hear any questions. One thing I just want to mention, a couple of things that we're doing. Sorry, Kevin, you go ahead.
Yeah, I unmuted. That's all good stuff. First off, Kelly, are we going to have, because Joe whipped through that so quick, are we going to have this deck so we can kind of, this is exactly what our owners need to look at because they're nervous right now.
Yeah.
They're nervous for
Not only is this call being recorded, so you can show them what we do. I'll also send it out to the same people that receive the invitation. I can send the deck out as well.
Okay. No, I thought that was all very interesting. Some of the points that I thought were interesting with the Gen Z and the millennial, that's huge. I mean, you know, my generation is the one that's not out, and we were traveling, but it just shows you how incomes and household incomes and the economy is pushing that particular market and into that luxury brand. The ski comment, I've never heard that before. I thought that was really interesting because I'm experiencing that in my, I just did it over Christmas with my dad and my wife and I were on a cruise, and that was really, it's interesting because, you know, we were with my dad. So I all that stuff you went through was really interesting.
The comment on like people spending less once they get here is definitely concerning. I mean, I think all of us in the tourism sector are going to be worried about that. That's eye-opening for sure. Thank you.
And then I was actually going to just make a comment, Kelly, about your household income of 175. My personal opinion, I think it's a little aggressive. I think in this day and age, I know the economy, people are looking at their pocketbooks. We don't go that high here at our property. I think if we kind of dabbled, or if you all looked at studies in about the 150 range, what that might open up exponentially on what how many traveler numbers that would kind of relate to. Just a thought.
Okay, well, I know that number comes out of research when we're talking to the visitors who are coming here, like when Joe and
Okay.
I do their studies, that number comes just straight out of that, but definitely we'll take that into consideration. And there's always above and below too, just, 175 is just our benchmark. So
Okay. And I know Kat can probably speak to that as well.
Yeah. And it depends also on the media platform, because media platforms are going to dictate how high you can go or what the ranges are. So that's a really great point, Kevin. I think we should experiment with lower, because honestly, what we have been looking at lately is higher. And because people are going to potentially, with this trend, spend less in destination, we're looking for people who have more disposable income, who won't necessarily be tightening their pocketbooks when they come to the destination. So I think that is an interesting point that we can definitely run by the media team and see, even if there's some testing we can do. I have some spend information later in this presentation too that's interesting about markets, and I'm curious to know what you guys are seeing too at the Hilton, Kevin, specifically with markets and the spending there.
Yeah, Kevin,
Yeah,
what,
comment right now.
The comment I made was just that, when you're looking at lowering it, I'm just thinking like shoulder speed, and that's where we're kind of
Yes.
sitting here like, we drop our rates exponentially, we need someone, to obviously fill the room. So are we looking at, every possible person? So thank you, Pat. We'll stop talking.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the media plan too, just to mention, shoulder season, we do that. So the household income targeting is a little bit different in shoulder season than it is in core, because in core, we're not really trying to get more people here. We're trying to get people here who are going to spend more money. So that strategy changes depending on the seasons.
one thing I think that's worth mentioning too, as we talk about future travelers starting to tighten their budgets a little bit, and also the trends with luxury travelers. That luxury segment and the more affluent traveler, we've also seen with some other studies that they're less affected with some outside factors that may lead for many people to want to tighten their budget a little bit. So that luxury travel segment is less likely to tighten their budget in the same way your average traveler might. And then with the likelihood of spending less, it's not necessarily that they want that these travelers are tending to try to find the cheapest option possible, but instead they're just being much more mindful with their budget and where they're directing and prioritizing those funds. So it does indicate that they're going to be tightening it a little bit as an average traveler, but really they're looking to just prioritize it into those experiences that are really going to fulfill their trip, as opposed to purchasing more items throughout the year, things like that. One more thing that I know we didn't include in the slides here, but I think is really worth mentioning is along with the kind of reprioritization of where they spend their money, travel is still a huge priority for people in their budget. So as they start to look at the disposable income and how they want to use it throughout the year, no one or the trend is not that people are removing travel, but they're keeping it up there and just kind of making adjustments to make sure they still can take those trips and have that experience that they want. So I just wanted to mention those other factors that we've seen, just because we didn't happen to have those on the side, but those are some other trends that we are seeing as well.
And I can actually go a little bit further when we're talking about spending less than destination, even for Walton County. When you break down the numbers, that spending less than destination is, like Aaron said, is not like where they're choosing to go or where they're choosing to stay. Even the decreased spending is happening in the shopping in destinations and the other entertainment they're finding in the destination.
And some of that information is included in the big tips and trends that you all sent it to us, that we put in the connection. And if you all didn't receive that, I can also include it. But it was Downton St. Germain put together a wonderful presentation for us that we put in the connection about everything that we're seeing for travel. This was just a very condensed version of it. And it was in the connection this month, but I can also include it here so you can see everything we're talking about. Okay, next up.
Are there any other questions before we jump ahead?
Can you go back to that last slide for just a moment?
Yes, I can try to. Yep, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking ahead, I guess I'm preaching to the choir in this this instance, but what we're seeing in the data that we have access to as far as booking trends, forward looking, we're seeing January through March ADR and occupancy are trending down. But then that picks back up in April through June. The fall of spring breaks, like where spring breaks are happening, is affecting kind of that trend for this year versus last year. So April through June is trending up. And then July through September, again, we're seeing ADR and occupancy trending down slightly. So we're keeping an eye on that. And as I mentioned, we change our marketing strategy based on the need periods. And so these calls, and we'll get to this in a second too, we want to hear from you guys. Like, these calls are super important for us to understand what our partners are seeing and where we need to heavy things up and shift some things. One thing that I did want to point out, we're looking at our Datafy research, and we did an analysis of market visitation versus market spend. And we're seeing that the markets that are more likely to visit the destination are, at this point, are not necessarily the markets that are spending more. I know this is a little hard to see, but basically Texas is spending more. So people coming from Texas are spending more in the destination, but Texas is our number 3 in terms of state visitation. So this is interesting, and we're adjusting some of our strategies, especially looking into fiscal year 2026 planning, to heavy up more in the markets that spend more in the destination, and maybe try to see if we can shift this a little bit. This one's a little bit drilled more down. Again, we'll share this with you because I know that's hard to read, but Dallas is the number 1 spending market. They spend 1.5 times the amount of other markets. So we want to heavy up in Dallas. I know Downs and St. Germain is currently conducting our market penetration, market potential study as well, which tells us how much penetration do we have in these markets within our household income target and how much potential is there. And Dallas historically is a really high market on that list because, yes, we have a good bit of penetration. So we have a good bit of awareness of the destination, word of mouth capabilities, but we also have a lot of potential. There's a lot of people in our target demographic who we haven't tapped into who haven't visited the destination yet. So just looking at some of these markets and making sure that we are adjusting our strategy to bring in those people who are going to spend more in the destination based on this research. So just wanted to bring that up to you guys as well. Again, we'll share it so you have this information. And at any point, if you're looking for information like this, we're tracking visitation to the destination. We're able to look back at spending. We're able to look back at where people are going within the destination when they're staying at certain properties and things like that. So that is also available. If you ever have questions about any of that or want to take a look at it, you can reach out to Kelly and her team.
Yeah, and with what Catherine is saying, this is what we're looking at every week to make sure that, you know, what we're doing is working, especially with that digital stuff, because, you know, digital is so nimble and we can move it so quickly around to what needs to be there. We're definitely, like, we have the pulse of these reports each week so that we know what we're doing, but it doesn't help if I don't know what you're seeing. So back to, you know, we want to help where you need help. So if you're telling me you need me to push right now or you need me to push wherever, you know, we can adjust some of our marketing and do that. One of the things that interests me the most is if you go back and you listen to what Joe had to say, email marketing is coming back. Well, we can do some email marketing and really put some great things together and do that. But we could also put some information for you guys together if you wanted to send it out as well. So we're always willing to, anything that we're doing, give it over to you guys for anything that you would like to do with it as well. So just keep in mind, we're here for you. So then I guess kind of leading into that is you tell me what you guys are seeing.
Well, I was going to ask this question of you and Kelly and you, Kat, about the messaging that for Chicago. We feel we know why our numbers right now are a little soft for spring break. I do.
For their spring break, which is typically March.
Yes.
They're more of a March than an April. We're seeing a couple of different markets that we would normally have in March that are slower to book at the moment, and we're just kind of hoping, obviously, that this snow and this terrible cold weather they're having is going to change their mind here in the next 60 days. But definitely seeing that 60 days out, they're not booking right now.
Yeah.
March is very soft for us at the moment.
And another, I realize people are now getting their credit card statements from Christmas, and they haven't even gotten their W-9, and we're only 15 days, 16 days into the year and into January. I get that. We know, because we're logical, reasoning people, that we know that it's probably going to pick up as we get into February, because we're in a short-term window world now for booking.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so,
that's what your research shows, right? Like
Mhm.
the last quarter at least, or the last 2 quarters showed that it was a very short-term booking window there, so we should expect that probably for the first half of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what we can do right now too, and what we have been looking at on our end, is pushing more of that kind of warm weather versus cold weather messaging that we do a lot of during this time of year anyway, especially with the cold that's happening these 2 weeks. Because staying top of mind for people, if you haven't booked yet, make sure you go ahead and book, and we can continue pushing that. I'm curious, Maggie, you said Chicago and some other markets. What are the other markets you're seeing softer for March?
I'll have to go pull it. I was on the phone with Kelly the other day actually talking about it, but Texas is slower for us right now in March.
Okay.
But also like you said, we were trying to be logical and say we're looking at it in the middle of the new year where we just got off of Christmas and people are just now kind of getting back to routine and thinking ahead and making goals for the year and where they want to travel, and all of that is kind of falling into play right now. So we were trying not to harp on it too much, but other people that harp on it, they want us to be focused there. So we are looking at that. And then Kelly, when we talked, and you guys sent me the key target markets, I thought it was interesting. Nebraska, Arizona, and Iowa are all on your list. So are you guys seeing a lot of data of people coming from those areas, or are you testing those markets right now?
Those are in emerging markets, and we're just testing those. Those are not like our key markets or anything. We're just testing those.
Right.
It's based on the market penetration study and the market potential study we had that were going off from a few years ago. That's why we're getting a new one. That's where it said that we had the most potential to penetrate the market there. So we're just looking at it to see what we can do, because we do know that the Midwest is super interested in us, and just making sure that they're aware. Again, that's a completely different campaign that we would do Nebraska and those kind of places, because that's an awareness campaign.
Right.
If we were looking at Chicago, I would do a more hard-hitting campaign like book now to get the room you want, book now to get the view you want, book now for Sugar White Sands and not snow.
Right. No, we thought it was interesting, and we were kind of well, maybe we need to shift some dollars into those markets too, just to see. But if you guys are just now testing it, we'll kind of hold off on that. And yeah, and see kind of the data that you get from there. But
Yeah, and then
March is a neat period for us.
March is a need period. That's really good to know. And those markets too, Maggie, we're seeing that people who do come to the destination from those markets are spending more. So it's a test to see if we can get more of those people into the market to spend more. But again, as Kelly mentioned, that's our kind of specialty emerging markets campaigns. It's not our always on kind of strategic adjustments of digital. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So traditionally, during March, we know that Texas is that first spring break community.
Mm-hmm.
So we are trending down in those 2 weeks that are Texas based. Houston and Dallas all kind of go kind of differently. The only week that we're trending up, kind of obvious, is Atlanta spring break. It falls to the week before the Masters. We always know that, and we're trending up on that. That's a given. It's the 2 weeks previous to that, maybe even 3 weeks previous to that's where we're seeing that downside. And that's where Chicago really hit strong over the last 2 years for us.
Okay.
So speak to me really quick, and you can just do it in bullet form. What's the messaging or what's the physical things that we're doing so we can relay that back to our ownership that the county's doing in Chicago? She did send it to you? Okay.
But you can still bullet point in case anybody else on the call doesn't know.
So, yeah.
Sorry, Maggie, were you saying give the bullet points now? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah.
couldn't hear you.
Other
Okay.
people on the
Yeah,
call
yeah.
might not know, but I have it. Kelly did email to me when I called and asked it. I'll have to pull it up.
Kelly's going to pull it off the top of my head. I know we have Chicago heating shelters. So those are in higher household income areas, heating shelters that obviously are providing heat to the very cold people. And our messaging is all about get away from the cold and come down here. They're also part of our digital campaign. So we are messaging in all of our digital platforms that's your book your getaway before it gets away messaging. So that's both with our leisure just brand message and our co-op message. Kel, do you have it in front of you right now?
Yeah. So right now, what I sent you over, Maggie, says that, we talk about our leisure target markets, and our core markets are going to be Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth, Nashville, Houston, Birmingham, New Orleans. So summer 2023 research revealed that Texas visitors far exceed other core markets. So we do have quite a bit there. But going back to Chicago, additionally, in our flow chart where we have all of this stuff, we also for print participated in the Chicago Magazine, and we participated in Midwest Living, which are really affluent publications there in the Chicago area. Then through digital, Chicago is included in our Google SEM, paid social, all the streaming audio apps that we have media running on. Additionally, the weather apps and connected TV, and that seems to have worked really well for us. We do have, in case you're more on the meeting side, because I know sometimes meetings can help out during that shoulder season and stuff. We're also meeting in events for all of Illinois. And then we also participate with the Association Forum of Chicago. We also participate for meetings in the North Star meeting group. So we're always talking with those people. And then, of course, out of home is what Catherine just talked about, the intersectional Chicago transit, which is called the Chicago heating shelters. And what makes those so fun is it's covered in snow, and you get in the shelter and all of a sudden you're enveloped in sugar white sand and turquoise water. So, and it's warm. So that makes those fun. So we have all of that going on in addition, and that's just Chicago. So in addition to all of our other things that we have going on. And I can send out the media plan again so you guys can see where we have stuff going on. I can always share it. I know it's been a year since you've seen it, but you can always ask me for it. And we're working on some things on the tourism site where it's a little more easy to find, and making things like this easier for you all to utilize when you need to. So that is some of the things that we're working on the back end, but I can always resend the media plan so you guys can see it and see exactly where we are with everything, and then see, what our spend is in various places.
Thank you very much, Kelly.
Yeah,
I'm a big supporter. We're big supporters of what y'all do, and we just have other people that are questioning, and it's great to have that data.
Well, and with this opportunity, in the past we've had a marketing committee, and that kind of only a couple people come to that, and then you can't get a quorum, and then you don't have a meeting. And for me, I felt like this is a better opportunity to invite everyone, and then everyone that can't come, this can be a video so you can watch it, and then we can still send out information on it. So to me, this is a little bit better than, say, the marketing committee where we have an agenda and we only talk about these things and can't really talk about things that aren't on the agenda. This gives us a better open forum to discuss the things that you all need.
Yep. Awesome.
All right.
Is there anybody else that wanted to give us any kind of anecdotes on what you're seeing for the upcoming season? Any concerns you have or places you feel like we might need to look into for additional marketing? All righty, I'm going to take that as a no. We do have some upcoming opportunities that we wanted to talk about. Before I jump into this one, I will mention that we have a couple of new campaigns that are about to come out. One is speaking to Joe's point about culinary travel. We now have In the Kitchen with South Walton, which is a big culinary series that we're putting together where we video chefs in their natural habitats and talk to them about what brought them to South Walton, some of the special things that they're doing, just to really highlight the culinary world in South Walton, because I think that is a really huge distinguishing factor that we've learned from consumers does help them to decide to book their trip to South Walton. So that will be coming out soon. There's been some teases on it on social media. We've had some some elements of it come out around the activations that we did in the fall, but we will start rolling those out very shortly. And then another is, I just want to touch on this, Kelly, for now. Responsible tourism. We are working with the alliance in the destination to get the message out about responsible tourism and treating the destination with care and like it's your home, because a lot of people do reference the destination as their home away from home. So using that message to say, if it's your home away from home, let's make sure to take care of it. So we have some video elements of that. We're also working on assisting with the Good Neighbor Initiative and moving all of that forward ahead of spring break. So just wanted to mention that here. Kelly, do you want to say something? Sorry.
I just wanted to say that, back to the culinary, we've got 3 of those filmed. We are looking at other opportunities to film other things that we're doing. So, if you have a signature chef or you have something signature there that, really screams South Walton, please get in touch with me, because I don't know every chef. I don't know every restaurant. I don't know every single person. And we're always looking to work with anyone else. And then moving on to responsible tourism, our team, which typically is myself and our tourism director, Matt, we attend all the responsible tourism meetings. That is kind of the operator alliance that Miss Amy Wise-Coble pulled together, and she kind of talks about it at our tourism, our TDC meetings. And so we're listening, and if you want to know more about that or anything, please get in touch with us, because I can always put you in touch. If you're not part of that group and you want to know more, I can always put you in touch with the correct people. Will the World?
Will the World. This is an exciting partnership that we have established. It's actually in partnership with Visit Florida as well. Will the World is an integrated solution that helps destinations to evaluate and promote accessibility to make sure that they're prepared to welcome all travelers. So essentially what they do is, for hotel accommodations, unfortunately not short-term rentals, just because the way that those accommodations change across the board, but hotel accommodations, restaurants, shopping, all of those types of things, they send a mapper into the destination to map the accessibility of those places and pull together a sort of an accessibility overview for their own website, where they put that bookable destination listing on their site for people who are looking for accessible places to visit, and then also put together some content around the accessibility of the destination in general. Once the information's gathered, Walton County Tourism will then receive a destination verified seal, and then each partner who participates will also receive an accessibility verified seal. They're not coming in to kind of critique your accessibility. They're not coming in to tell you what you're doing wrong. They're honestly coming in to say, what can we promote as accessible as part of your offering? And then they do have resources that you then have access to for training and things like that for accessibility enhancements in the future. So it's really this partnership that we're moving forward. But things like beach accesses, parks, we would love to get as many hotels involved as possible, and then restaurants and shopping to promote the accessibility of our destination. I know Blakely sent out an email to a number of partners about participating and the introduction letter there. If you did not receive it and are interested, please reach out to us. And then if you did receive it and are interested, please respond back to Blakely, because we'll then start working with the mapper to get them on site to do some of that mapping.
We just think it's an opportunity to maybe tap into a demographic that maybe doesn't realize that they can come to South Walton and that they can come to your property, because maybe being in a wheelchair that they think sand and they can't do it and this, that, and the other. So again, just because you will the world doesn't mean you don't want to go on a luxurious vacation. So we want to make sure that we're as open and letting people know that it's back to awareness, that this is some place that they can come and that they're welcome here. And this is Blakely again, by the way.
My emails are open for any questions.
She's more than ready to help. So yeah. So, okay, you can go. So happy to go.
These are just some visuals I wanted to show. Again, hard to see on the screen, but it shows the listings. It shows that verified seal. And then again, they come in with their own mappers and map the the properties, and then pull all of that together, videos, photos, and things like that for the listings. Another opportunity that you are probably expecting is our annual co-op sales. So we are currently working on our fiscal 26 media plan. Again, like all of this conversation is very helpful in us putting together the media plan for fiscal year 2026, which is October 2025 through September of 26. Because of the nature of co-op sales and print placements and things like that, we do plan pretty early. So we are working on that now. The sales period this year, put it in your calendars, will be May 5th through May 9th. It'll be the digital sales tool, again, coop.visitsouthwalton.com, where you'll be able to log into your account, make all of your selections in real time, and then solidify your contract from there. We plan to have similar placements to before. We'll have our robust print plan that partners are able to participate in. We'll also have a number of really great digital opportunities, and all of that will be coming out once the plan goes to TDC and BCC in April. So following those meetings in April, following those approvals, we'll start to get those sales kits out to you so that you can review each of the opportunities yourself and figure out what you want to buy. And then at 9 a.m. on May 5th, log into that digital platform and begin the purchases.
I'm super excited simply because I think we moved the timing around the last couple of years, and it's kind of fell around Memorial Day, and that's kind of a crazy time for everyone. So I really wanted to push it back in May, where it's a little bit of not as crazy for everyone and guests and all of that. So worked with the Zehnder team and worked internally with my team to get it May 5th through the 9th. That's just a better time for just to kind of everyone involved, and it gives us a little more time to make sure that we can get everything done. So, and that is based on the things that you all had to say. You're like, please don't ever make it Memorial Day weekend again, or the week before, or the week after. So I was like, okay, got it. So that's just us trying to listen to you.
We'll open up the questions now. I also do want to open up the floor for any of your feedback on the co-op program and what you would like to see more of or less of, or any opportunities that you feel like would be great to add into the co-op program for next year that would assist in your participation in it. So any feedback you have there, again, like I said, we're pulling together that plan now. So we would love to consider any of your thoughts or suggestions. So I'll open up the floor.
And as always, if you're like, got to think about it and you want to make sure, you know, you get all your words and everything correct, just send me an email. I'm always available that way. So definitely. So any questions? Y'all are easy today.
I see Kevin's hand on the mouse. You want to say something?
I know. Well, I don't want to always be the guy, but
He hates to be the one that talks all the
I
time,
know.
but we just want to see where this photo in the co-op. We got our copy of the Farm magazine in the mail.
Yay!
Stunning. So thank you.
whose tool deck is that?
Thank you for taking the time to make us part of the shoot and represent some hotels out here. But we think y'all are doing a great job. So thank you. Seen it in real life, isn't it?
I like that there's great rapport also, that we can call, ask questions. It's not frowned upon. We take our suggestions. We work well together when we're on the road, and it's just it's a great. I think we have a great county. I think we have a great tourism program. We can always be better, and that's where we take the suggestions and kind of the feedback from everybody. And we really appreciate what you all do.
Yeah, you guys are kicking butt out there. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate hearing that. We try to make sure we've got some resources at your fingertips whenever you need them. Selfishly, I want to plug Tourism Talks. Tourism Talks is located on the Walton County Tourism site, and we have some really great ones on there. If you're interested, Dave did SEO. Is it SEO or is it SEM? SEO.
SEO.
So we had Dave Marr from the Zehnder agency to a really great presentation on the best ways to use SEO and how you should use it and all of that. So that's there. In addition, we've got some other really great things on there, like what does Brian do, and Next up is going to be like, what does the sales department do and how can the sales department help you? I'm going to work on how do you become better involved in the co-op program, and just a lot of things that are always there at your fingertips that, you know, you can always access at any time. So, you know, if you think of things that you want, you know, information like that on, let us know, and we're happy to put those together. And we're here for you guys. I mean, we reach out, but reach back out to us so that we can help you. So.
Awesome. If there's not anything else, I'll give everybody 8 minutes back in their day.
We did pretty good.
Thanks, team. You guys did a good
Thanks,
job.
guys. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you all so much. I will get all that information out to you.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
It is so small. Oh, look, now it's normal size.